Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and today is another video of my Spirituality A to Z series, and it's going to be entitled F is for Finance. So, as many of you may or may not know, I have quit my job and I am currently just working by myself, being my own boss, and doing that whole entrepreneurial way of life. And it's bringing my relationship with finance and money very much to the forefront. Many of you probably look at this video and you're like, how is finance spiritual? I don't understand that. I don't get it. Now, the reason I believe it is because everything around us can be interpreted in a spiritual way if we choose. And finance and money and anything is spiritual if you allow yourself to open yourself up to that. So now with that being said, money is a very interesting thing to explore for people. And finances, there's a lot of spiritual people that reject money as something in their life, as something spiritual that they need to take advantage of or think about or learn about, whatever. So, with finance, I do want to explain that I am using the word finance in this video for means of at least just for my own mental understanding, because for me, finance is a different sort of energy than money. And when I say money, there's a very big kind of thought form, way of thinking that I kind of get put into, a subconscious programming, whatever you want to say, when I think about money. Whereas finance is a little bit more of a different approach to the same thing. So, first thing I want to say is, you have to really, really, really look at your relationship with money for all of you, because every person's going to have a different relationship, and I can't tell you what is going to be good for you and what's also going to be good for this person and myself. Just what works for me isn't necessarily going to be true for what works for you, just because that's the way it works. That's the way the universe works. I can only give you enough answers to help you figure out the answers for yourself. If that makes sense. So with that being said, I really think the important things about finance in spiritual practices are to really do a couple things. One, you really want to understand what it is that you are projecting onto finance and money, and what it is that you feel about it. So when you have money, when there's a lot of money, if I amplify the amount of money that you have, what would you feel? Would you feel successful? Would you feel ashamed? Would you feel embarrassed? Would you feel powerful? Would you feel stable? What would you feel? And that's something that when you kind of break away that thing, instead of getting caught in the money cycle and all of that, and you kind of break it and you look at it and you look at the feeling that it gives you or that it can give you, that is when you'll be able to really analyze your relationship and get a better grasp on it, and a better holding on what it is that you perceive money as, which then when you start breaking that down and start breaking the way you perceive it, then you can kind of change the relationship you have with it. Now, notice I said the word relationship. That kind of brings me into my next point, which is that, it's a relationship, just like anything else, just like a relationship with your significant other or your family or your job or whatever. It's a relationship. It's an energetic exchange. So you want to make that exchange as present as possible. You want to treat, it's kind of a strange thing to say it this way, but it's kind of like the whole golden rule, treat others like you would like to be treated. Now I'm asking you to do that for money. I know that sounds kind of strange, and you're kind of like, well, that doesn't make any sense. But seriously, look at it and look at the way that you're handling money. There's people that just crumple up money and don't even really care about it. And to me, that makes me sad, because money is something that, if it's an extension of me, I don't want to create it I don't want to create this negative relationship with it. I don't want it to be just like tossed aside or whatever. Like, I want money to be happy to be around me, and I am happy to be around money. Like, I am happy to kind of show money and show things that I can, take care of them, even if that sounds weird to you and that sounds strange. Like, if you really treat your friends the way you treat money, how would your friends react? That's kind of the way I look at it, and I really want my relationship with money to be healthy. And I've been researching that and learning it and learning my own way about it, and that's really what I've come to learn in that part as well. And there's so many people that they get caught in this thing, and they get caught in chasing money. And if I told you, see, this is the thing, if we all function in our mind a lot of the time. We don't really function in our emotions and our feelings. We tend to run from those, which is kind of dumb, to be honest, because they're with us our entire life. So why are we running from that? Why? I don't get it. So, I'm guilty of it too, so I understand. I get it. But what I'm offering is that, to look at money and whatnot, and if I can amplify the feeling enough for you, amplify your feeling that you're having in your mind or whatever about money, you can kind of see what you actually feel, and that is what you want to go into. Not the way your mind, like, just does whatever, because your mind's just, like, going to keep sustaining itself, and that's what the ego does. And if the ego doesn't feel safe without money, then what's going to happen is you're going to keep trying to sustain that thought and sustain that way of thinking, so what I'm trying to get at is that, if I can take the best way for me to explain the way that I do my work is that, I amplify the feeling. I make, what's that phrase? A mountain out of an anthill or something? Mountain out of whatever that is, that thing. Where you take something so small and you amplify it so big. And essentially that's what I do in my mind, but it's able to allow me to see the bigger, not really the big picture, but kind of see what that feeling is that thing is causing in me. So for instance, with money, if you look at your bank account right now, and you had, right now you have, let's say, $200 in it, okay? What if you close that bank account out? Not close it out, but close out the app, assuming you're on your phone, but you know what I mean. Closed it out, opened it up again, and then you saw $20,000 in the same account. How would you feel? What would that bring up in you? What feelings would it be like? Oh my gosh, like, how did I get this? There's no way this is legal. There's that route about it, or like, oh my god, this is such a blessing. And there's a lot of people, your mind will try and play tricks and be like, oh, nope, there's no way this is, nope, you don't deserve this, nope. And then there's that whole thing, and there's just a lot of like money stuff that you're really trying to get in and understand. So what I'm trying to get you to do is to look at the fact that you can expand your feeling of it by visualizing a different way, and then you can really see how you actually feel. If if I were to come up to you and say, here's $100, what would you say? What would you do? Not a lot of people think about those scenarios. And when you start thinking about those types of scenarios, that's when you're going to start really changing your relationship and the way you view things. Because you're thinking outside of the box of what you've already been conditioned to think of. Now, another thing that I want to say is that so many people exchange their time for money. And they think that by exchanging the time, you're going to get the money, and then you're going to get more time later. But what I don't get is that, it doesn't work that way, because you're still exchanging your time for money, and then exchanging more time for more money. It's not, that's a whole other thing. That's very much like a financial thing, something else, but still, like, it's very prevalent in our society that people are just chasing money and chasing money and chasing this. And what if I told you that that's not what you're looking for? That's not really what you want. You don't really want money. You want what money can give you, which most people, it's freedom. Most, And I know that if we start focusing our mentalities and our way of life on the freedom and not on the money will come. It's gonna come, and we're gonna have it, and we're gonna be fine, because we're gonna force our brains to rewire itself, because it's so hard to be conditioned in a society where we think this way and we think it's gonna work, and now the system's not working anymore. We have to change it. We have to change the way it's perceived. We have to change the way we look at it. And that sucks, because we have to go back and kind of unlearn sort of ways of viewing things, because there's so many people who view life in this like go to job, get married, go to job, go to a job, get married, have a family, have kids, die. And that's fine if that's you. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. But for me, it's like, I want more out of life. I want something different. I want something bigger. I want to, live my life, experience my life. I don't want to, work for this amount of time to have a vacation, maybe. No, I want to be able to do whatever I want on my own time, however I want to do it. And money for me is a big part of that. It's a big, how do I explain this? Like, money is, for me, it's freedom. It's freedom, and it's also connection. So for me, I amplified my money stuff long enough and kind of went through my whole money situation long enough to understand that for me, it's connection that I'm really looking for. And it's not even the connection of the internet. I mean, yeah, sort of, but it's more of like a intimate connection. Like, I'm really looking for that out of money and using money to get that. Like, I really want intimate connection with everyone, with anyone. I want people to know that they can do that too. Like, intimate connection is something that we all strive for. We're all programmed for. And I just know that money, in my mind, money can help me get that. And I can also get that without money too. So it's just, another thing that I want to add. Money is an amplifier. So it's going to make you more of who you already are. If you're a bad person, it's going to still make you a bad person. If you're a greedy person, it's going to make you a greedy person. If you're a generous person, it's going to make you more generous. Like, if I want to give, I'm going to give. And if I have more money, I have more to give. And it's just one of those things where I really think that many people don't look at it that way. They don't look at what it is that they're trying to get out of money. And I think if you really feel what would happen if you inherited or whatever all this money, like, that's the feeling you should be exploring. That's what you should be looking at, and it's not all about money. It's just about what you're doing here, what you're doing with your life, who you're touching, whose lives you're impacting, what change you're creating in the world. That's what's important. So don't think that you're not worth it because you don't have money, because that's all up here. What's in here is what's more important. What is really you. And you know what? Another thing with finance. Sorry, this video is going to be a little bit longer just because there's a lot I have on this and I could literally talk about this forever. But for me, it's like, you go through these stages in learning about yourself, right? And with money, what's going to happen, because this is just how the universe works, if you're so attached to money and you're so identified with money and you can't think of yourself anything separate of that, what's going to happen is you're going to lose it. You're going to be stripped it, because the universe wants you to see who you really are without that. So it's going to strip all of that from you so you can see who you really are inside and really what you want, what you desire, where you want to go. That's what's important. And that's what the universe wants you to see. And you're going to see it. It's just a matter of understanding that, it's not, like I said, it's not all up here. It's all in here. This is where you create your life. You create your life from this space too as well, but this tends to get in the way a lot of the time. You know, it can also help a lot, but it depends on how you look at it. Finance is important. Like, you want to definitely take care of your financial state because, you know, and what happens, and this is something that I just realized in this moment too, so thank you for being this audience for me to talk to. But you know, money is going to be, if like with me, it's going to be a representation of who you are. And for me, I have a lot of, not a lot, I don't want to say a lot, I have a fair amount of debt. And for me, having that fair amount of debt and not really facing it, not really looking at it, is a representation for me that it kind of reflects back the aspect of me that doesn't want to look at my own problems, doesn't want to look at my own pain, doesn't want to look at that. And that is really pivotal right now in my life. And I think in a lot of people's lives, you know, like there's people that have debt and, you know, there's stuff that they've accomplished because of it, and there is many different ways that you can look at debt too. You can look at it as, hey, like for me, all my debt's from traveling and experiencing and growing and learning. So for me, I'm grateful that I spent that money. I really am. I'm grateful that I had the opportunity to spend that money. You know, and people that go and get college degrees with it, you know, student loans, like that's something that you're grateful for. So instead of thinking, you know, hey, I have $40,000 in debt, think I have $40,000 that I spent to get me everything that I wanted. Now I just have to go out and get it. It's not hard. So yeah, I think I might do like another finance video because I know this is going to be a very big part of my life. But yeah, I might be doing another finance video later. Just the more I kind of get into it and explore it in this next year or so. So yeah. If you like the video, put a like down below. Wait, like down below. That was weird. I don't like that, but whatever. Or yeah. And then I will probably be putting out another video next week or sometime soon because I don't have a real job and I'm my own boss, so I can do whatever I want. So I will probably be putting out more videos a lot more often and, you know, really put on a lot more content for you guys. But yeah, this is my Spirituality A to Z series, and F is for finance, so I hope you enjoyed.